Welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. Thanks for attending. Today we're going to talk about the 7-day home sale blueprint, working with listing agents to sell your home for top dollar. We're going to talk about the few simple tweaks that can really get the model working for you rather than working for buyers or working for the seller's agent. And then at the end of it, if you stick around, I will show you how you can share in the listing agent real estate commission with any real estate agent in the country. Agents, it may be difficult. Here's just the short of it. It may be difficult to negotiate discounts with the agent that sells the most homes in your neighborhood or even a relative. I mean, there are discount brokers, but the agents that are busy, they are trained not to give discounts. Because, in part, because if they start giving a discount to you, they're going to have to give discounts to other listings. However, there's a way around it. We've done it dozens of times, and I'll talk about it in the end. And I'll make you a deal that's so good you probably won't refuse it. But first, the training. Now, I'm going to tell a few stories because this is where the genesis of the method that I'm about to teach. That eventually the California Association of Realtors asked me to train realtors on negotiating multiple offers. But to understand where it came from, you have to first, I got something left over. Today it was, sometimes it's peanuts. Today it was, pistachios. Okay, so anyway, let me pull up. I'll share. These slides are imperfect. I was trying to use new technology so I could record over them. I couldn't even go back and change them. I didn't know how it was new technology. So I'm going to share the slides with you, but I already know there's typos. So just be prepared for that. So this is a 7-day home seller blueprint. I'm using this as a guide so that I can look at the slide and then explain it to you. So it's a relatively short presentation. And we're going to show you how you can make the model, the listing agent model, the traditional one, work for you instead of the listing agent and the buyers. And I explain we're going to go to the end. So my name is John McConnin. As a California licensed broker, since 2004, I've sold over 200 homes, and the vast majority of them to multiple offers. As an attorney and broker, I've referred out and overseen many, many files. I have something called Transaction Management Oversight Program. I've referred these files out, generally received a referral fee for it, and CAR, California Association of Realtors, has selected me to train realtors on multiple offers. In this program, we can refer your property out and train your realtor all over the country. And it's just a very simple change. So let me explain the genesis of today's training. Before I became a real estate agent, I was a real estate attorney. I had worked on commercial real estate contracts. I had worked with residential real estate contracts because it was a small to medium firm I first started working with. I told them I was interested in real estate. They wanted me to do trial work. They had me do some injury trials, but the part that I loved the most was defending real estate brokers. They were getting sued because this is back when the market fell down, and there used to be a thing where brokers were selling out second loans and opportunities like that as individuals, and they got sued right and left when the market fell out. So I got to get a lot of practice in court, and I learned all about the contracts. And it was oddly. Some of the brokers I worked with were getting sued by real estate agents and the wives or husbands of real estate agents who already knew what they were talking about. So after doing all this, I was like, wow, you mean a few years ago, my house just went up almost 100% in 3.5 years. And we had just gotten married. I was like, that was so fun. And now it's tax-free because of the Reagan tax break saying for if you live in your house for 2 of the last 5 years, you get to keep $500,000 in cash. And believe me, $350,000, or about what it was after 3 years living in Carlsbad, was a massive amount of money compared to windfalls that a 30-year-old person might have had back then, including trading the real estate markets, which I was also doing. But I was like, that's so much money. Why don't we go to Florida and do it again? So we wanted to preserve as much equity as possible, which why not, right? Why give away 6% of your home sale, which could be a significant amount of your equity, to a real estate agent if you can sell your home yourself? So I got a sign put in the front yard. I did open houses. I think I may have put it in the newspaper back then, which is unnecessary now. I did flyers in the neighborhood, flyers on the post, which I think most agents realize don't do much now. It's really for marketing the agent. But we had a lot of people at my open house, 2 or 3 different weekends in a row, but we weren't getting any offers. I drafted up contracts ahead of time. I'd done our disclosures, really all the right things, because I'd observed it and I'd studied it. And we didn't get any offers. So eventually, a real estate lawyer broker told me that, hey, I could not only sell your home for the price you want, I could tack on my real estate commissions, get paid, and you'll still have that net that you want right now. With the strategy I use, I wound up talking to him. I talked to another broker. I picked another, it was a husband and wife couple, because basically said, we're going to do the exact same you did, but we're going to do a tweak. We're going to do a massive marketing effort up front. We're going to talk about accepting more offers until Sunday evening. And then on Sunday evening, just like you suggested we do, we'll do a modified round robin auction. We will preserve the strongest offer. We'll set it aside. We'll tell them what we're doing. We'll let the other ones compete. They'll bring up the price, and then we'll go back. We'll discuss what you want to do, and we'll go back to the strongest offer. Maybe we'll let them have one more round. What we won't do is jack them all up from the beginning. What we won't do is say final and best. We will take what we usually do, which they said, we love this method. Now, other agents hate it. The people at the MLS caravan meetings hate it because they know what we're doing. But we're going to develop a lot of interest in the property. We're going to accept offers for the entire week. We already have some buyers that'll generate some offers. We can talk to the people you've already talked to. We'll take the offers in, and we'll look them all on Sunday night. We'll rank them, and then we'll put them into the system. Very similar to what you were trying to do. But this time we're going to have offers. We're going to have a long offer acceptance period. We're not going to just make it all happen on Sunday, which was probably the major part of the mistake I made. Plus, and we'll talk about some of the other things. So that was how I wound up, selling my house, more than covering the real estate commissions and then some. And you know what? I got nervous. We probably could have sold for more, but I was happy with that. I wanted to get on, move on with my life, get to real estate investing in Florida, which didn't work out so well. We had 4 houses. They all collapsed around the same time. We went from it was like a $900,000 equity position with an offer on the table to having to go after getting rid of all 4 properties later. We had to go to the closing table with money because they didn't have anti-deficiency judgments in Florida. I came back to California, having been at a firm that did workouts back in the early 90s. I was well positioned with UpsideDownRealEstate.com and UnderwaterRealEstate.com. After this, I became a realtor because of this model, and I made a lot of money. That's a long story short. I didn't even hit the timing of it very well. But let's review the core components of the first part of the training. It is to have a offer acceptance period. Now, why is this superior? And we're gonna have to skip over some slides, because what I get calls on, Google used to love me as a real estate attorney, so I got calls. I used to have a Del Mar office, so anybody was looking up Del Mar real estate or real estate along the East Coast, they'd see an attorney, they'd see me, they'd call me, and I was getting calls about people saying, hey, we had multiple offer situation. My agent lost them all. And after talking to a lot of people, I realized that they realized their agent priced the property too low. Lots of offers came in. They knew that they were right. They wanted to get the offers back to their property. The agent tried to jack up the people, and the strongest buyers left, and the other buyers eventually left, or they couldn't close. And they're like, we just went out of our listing contract. I learned so many lessons from these phone calls that I've shared in videos. I will share over time. But the whole idea of listing agents telling sellers to list below fair market value or just at fair market value, so have multiple offers and move it up, it's a great idea. But they're mixing models, right? The real estate model is supposed to be a slow Dutch auction model with an invitation to negotiate. That's how it was developed at the Board of Realtors. If you research the history, the agent representing the listing people would go in there. There'd be other agents that had buyers. The listing agent would say, hey, we're going to start off at this price. And they bring it until one of these persons say, hey, I have buyers interested. This is about the number or the range. Let's put them together and see if we can come to a deal. This is very similar to the flower auction market, where the price starts up here, it ticks down. There's a test of wills, a battle of nerve among all these buyers who need flowers for their businesses. And the price goes down, and one buyer pops up and takes it. Now, what would happen? Just think about this conceptually. if you have all these buyers sitting here and you have your list price, the flower auction price, too low. Well, there are 10 buyers for it, but only one gets the offer. So what are the chances that even if you negotiated with all the seller of the flowers, or in this case your home, if you're going with the analogy, what is the possibility that these people will go all the way up here, or they drop out and say, hey, we'll wait for the next pallet? It's just this listing price thing and starting off too low sets the wrong buyer's expectations. At some point, the strong buyers are like, these sellers don't even know what they're doing. Why did they start off so low? I mean, I've seen it. I've heard it. Not all the time, but it's a lot. So in the model, let's not even talk about exact numbers. In this model, the risk of pricing wrong when you're trying to go below fair market value is, and there's two risks, pricing wrong and negotiating poorly. That's put on the sellers. It benefits buyers who recognize that the price is too low. That's why they're making offers. It recognizes listing agents because it gives the listing agent a very good chance of double siding, because we all know that buyers, once they lose a few times in multiple offer negotiations, I've even had training on this, wind up wanting to work directly with the listing agent because they can get the inside deal on pricing. They can sometimes get an idea of what it takes for to get a deal done. The listing agents aren't supposed to give away, if they're representing both the seller's positions, but they can, it happens, right? The guidance. They also know where the other buyers are offering. And even this, I bought my home with my wife in Poway, and we were qualified because my business was going really well back then. And we wanted a home near a golf course and a good school district, and there weren't that many left. So I was a pretty motivated buyer. I made an offer on a home that was a pretty nice home. It had been fixed up, but not perfectly. And I was told, we made an offer, and I was told we were in multiple offer negotiations. And we got jacked up in the first round. And at that point in time, I was like, wow, I really, I don't know, I got about $20,000 more in me, and then I'd rather just go buy another house. Because I was qualified. I could do it. I just didn't want to do it. We liked this home. And I was like, I don't think I could get this out of the listing agent, but I know Phil in my office could. I'm like, Phil, call this lady up, do some recon for me, find out what it's going to take for me to win. So Phil calls her up. I talked to him. I said, how'd you do it, Phil? He said, John, I positioned you as the strongest buyer, the one who will close. He was working for a probate trustee. I said, look, these people don't want to sell the house over and over. It's getting to be Christmas time. There'll probably be a month lull. I said, John's your buyer. He's going to close. He's motivated. They've got more than enough cash to get the loan. In fact, I even know the lender. He was my friend. You want to sell this home to John. You don't want to be messing with these other people. And so what's it going to take? And I had to pay $2,000 more. I probably would have gone to 20, but you never know. I think it was a good deal for the sellers. It was a good deal for me. Phil got it done. But that shows you, right? Strong buyers who are trained, who understand, can get better deals than fair market value. So the first thing is, instead of letting buyer's agents and listing agents negotiate, you have this offer acceptance period. And then you have, and we're going to get to this next, negotiations on Sunday evening, preferably round robin bidding. It can be done the way we did it with my agent, and that the agent keeps one of them on the side, a good one, and you negotiate among the others, even if it's that own agent's property. So you go over all the listings, you find the strongest, you set it aside, you negotiate with the others, or maybe you keep two aside and you negotiate with the others, try to get them up, and then at some point say, hey, great strong buyer, we've got an offer here. We appreciate your offer. We're not even saying you have to make the highest offer. We just want to know where you are, and we're going to compare it because we really love your offer. It's strong, it's flexible, it gives us the opportunity to buy another home, however you want to set up. Like for instance, this is a great process for setting up a buyer. If it's a strong buyer, especially a buyer who's got more than enough down payment, they can probably do some of the work to get to the point where they are through some of their contingencies. Their lender's qualified. They give you 60 or 90 days, but they're ready to close. They can close in 17 because they've got the cash. Or however you set up those terms, so that we really like you. We just want to give these other people an opportunity to match it. We're not really that concerned about price, or whatever it is. And you have that last round, boom, you lock it in there. Sometimes you don't want to just get, this is psychology, but you don't want to just say, hey, you're the winner. You want them to feel like they had to earn it, because otherwise it's just psychology. Too many buyers think they may have overpaid, and then they get concerned if you don't come back with something. So that's the process, which we're going to cover more. Now, there's other things you would do during this offer inspection period than the big open weekend before the negotiations start. And I believe, and there's training on the net, and it's just common sense, if you eliminate buyers' objections ahead of time, they become free to make stronger offers. So the first thing I would do is I'd have my home pre-inspected and pre-repaired. And if you don't make the repairs, which you're not going to make every repair, you're going to explain, hey, grading the sides of my home away from the home is something you can do. We chose not to do it. We did what was mandatory, which would be like strapping the water heater in case there's earthquakes. That happens all the time, unless the water heater is recent. And then there's other things, like you might decide that repairing this will likely bring you a stronger dollar later, so you go for it. Pre-repaired, pre-inspected, here's what's going on. Now, they might opt out of their own inspector and find something else, and that opens up sometimes negotiations, but you could, oh, look at that. This was, okay, homeowner's warranty. I believe putting that around $500 offer into the equation, saying we're going to pay for it, makes owners feel, at least they know, and you can explain to them that they don't. The refrigerator's covered, the range. You can get a pool extension, which I find very valuable. You can get these things covered, and these warranties do pay. They don't always pay 100%, but they do pay. I know, I have experience. I once made my own claim under one. See, this is pre-disclosed guidance if requested. Now, one of the things that's better about this model than the model I've occasionally talked about where you do most of this yourself is that some of the buyers in the buyer pool, some of the strong buyers in the buyer pool, still want guidance to make sure the process is going correctly. They still want guidance from an agent. They don't mind working with the listing agent, but they want to know they're going through the process for both time-saving reasons and stress reasons. And if you're working with an agent in this process and your agent agrees that they'll cover the buyer too, this is a great process. In fact, it can be a great process for your listing agent because the buyers that lose, they could still develop a relationship with. So this should be pre-disclosed. Agent's guidance or lawyer guidance if requested. They can also work with their own buyer if they want to pay them. Or, we've got flexibility. You can also set up this process where you accept offers from people represented by agents. You have them check a box and say, but they also requesting 2% or 3% in real estate agent commissions, and then you can net it out and select your offers based on the net. So there's lots of ways. So the nice thing about this process is there's no stress. If you explain to buyers that during the round robin process, their bidding is not binding on you and them. You're just letting them bid to be the strongest buyer, and then you will select that buyer to negotiate with on Monday. So the strongest bidder becomes the buyer with an exclusive right to negotiate with you on Monday morning or even later that evening, depending on your work schedules. And that at that point, if you both sign a contract, it'll become binding. But up until that point, the buyers are negotiating to be the person with the exclusive right to negotiate. And the beauty of this is that there's not going to be any self-dealing to an agent, to your agent, who will be representing both sides. This is straight up a process to determine the strongest buyer wants the house the most so that they can negotiate with you on Monday. And of course, if the terms don't meet your satisfaction or the price, you don't have to accept it. That's the beauty of the system. We're going to get it done. You can do it in 5 days. 5 days, 7-day acceptance period. Offers on the weekend. And if not, this whole strategy, if you want to go with it, which we suggest, is just your pre-MLS home sale weekend opportunity to buy this property before we list it for more on the MLS. Now, in my experience, this will lead to a relatively very high final price if you have 20 or 30 people looking at your property during the process. If you don't, back when I was, I still do. I've always counseled clients that if they have about 10 buyers going through the property, they're going to receive offers. So that's just even in the regular process. But in this process, where we're soliciting offers to review them Sunday night and we ask people if they want to leave a bid because they can be in the bidding process, even if they don't fill out a contract, you're likely to get many more. So if you have 10 is probably the minimum, but if you have 25 people come to your property and some of them turn into bidders, you're going to have a very good chance to get the top dollar. Now, I just wanted to note, back then, I think we could have even gotten higher than we did, but we caved. The beauty, but we didn't do the round robin process exactly. We picked the buyers, we were negotiating with them all concurrently, and I felt like there may have been enough. We sort of isolated it, but I don't even remember exactly. But we caved because I sensed that it was enough. The round robin process it's enough, but as you go up the ladder, it's a lot for that final person. So we tell the final person, hey, here's where the price is. You've got to go above it. And if they do, we don't come back to them for a while, so they don't get jacked around too much. But yeah, the lowest person on the ladder is going to get jacked. But this person, and even the second place person, it feels like a very fair process to them. So the round robin auction model works really, really well for keeping your strong buyers in there. And if you're a representative, and this is why you don't want to do this with just any agent, you want your agent trained. If they understand the process, if the process is transparent, if they follow it, and they can communicate, or you can communicate with the buyers each round, telling them what's going on, and that there's no self-dealing, you can have an awesome result. That person on the phone talking to the buyers is a very important piece of the equation. They need to either be educated or smart. Now, let's lock it down for now, and we're going to go into the next two sections. Good marketing, and we're going to talk about that in the next section. Presence of a good offer, but not a competition-killing offer. Offer acceptance period. Sunday night negotiating. Confident, trustworthy agent. Transparency of process for buyer. Combined with starting offer versus a listing price. We don't want to put a listing price, like most agents go up on the MLS and they say, let's just go a little bit under fair market value so we can get multiple offers. As I've said, that sets the wrong expectation. You want it to be clear that you're going to be selling Sunday in an auction or round robin or bidding process to the strongest buyer, and that what we're doing here is we're accepting starting offers all week, including the weekend, and then you're going to get to them. For more information, go to my website. For more information, click this link. If you're on Facebook, for more information, hit the lead offer and we'll send it to you. I mean, there's many, many ways to set up the marketing, but we want to put this property in front of, on Facebook, the audience of buyers who in your area who are looking at Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, any of the real estate portals you like, Redfin, and exclude real estate agents. You don't need them bugging you in this part of the process. They're going to have, if you don't accept these offers, then next week or a week or two, you'll be on the MLS and you can deal with buyers agents. That's my primary advice. But we also have plan B where you can make the buyer, as I said earlier, you can make the agents prove that their price is worth it, that they've produced more value for you. Now on YouTube and Google, it's an in-market real estate audience in your area, right? So you can put your property, and we can talk about the ads, property priced below the Zillow price, priced below the Realtor.com price, offer acceptance period, boom. We will sell to the strongest offer after round robin bidding competition, boom. No compensation for buyer's agents, so there's no reason for my listing agent who's running the process to self-deal. They're just going to be an auctioneer. The strongest bidder will win. Come see the property. Pre-inspected, pre-repaired, homeowner's warranty. I mean, there's lots of things you can include in the ad depending, on the size. We can talk about that. Your agent, if they do Facebook marketing, and they all claim they do, but if they do a good job, they'll know how to set it up. The strongest lead magnet on the internet right now for buyers is a home for sale. The strongest lead magnet of a home for sale would be a home selling this weekend, especially if you position it properly, which is very easy to do. This isn't rocket science. Now, I believe you don't even need the MLS. Now, if your listing agent wants to work that out with you, that's fine. We're going to talk about how we can help you with that at the end of this video. Right now, we're just providing value. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Starting rather than listing. So as I said, the current realtor model puts the risk of the wrong price on the seller, because what happens is those those offers come in that first weekend instead of over the waiting period. And they want a response with you within 24, 48 hours. Your agent says, hey, if we don't respond quickly, they're going to walk away. It becomes a total mess. It's a terrible process for a seller's market. When it's a multiple offer market, it's a terrible process. It sets the wrong expectations. At some point, you can lose your buyers if you try to get to the real fair market value of your home. My experience, talking to people on the phone, even seeing it when selling homes, the strong buyers don't like to be jacked. A smart agent instantly says, hey, we're going to take care of it. Let me just keep you around because I think you're the best buyer. Let me talk to the seller. So I say even go below, a little bit below where most agents would have you go. So it's obvious to everyone that it's a starting offer. Okay, so my wife was fooled. I knew immediately. There was a property that I'd once shown. It was funny, 3 or 4 years ago, in Poway with a resort-like backyard and pool. Beautiful home. Nice. Some of the tile was older and needed to be redone, but it was such a big house with such a beautiful pool. The issue was it was near power lines. But it sold. It came back on the market a few years later for more, and then it dropped. And then my wife became aware of it when it went down. It dropped to like 900 to $1 million. And she was like, this is the greatest home ever. And I was like, I guarantee you it's a short sale where they're just trying to bring in offers, or it's something else. And then it turned out it was something else. It was an auction model like this. I think that it was too far below where the listing people really wanted it to be. It was too phony. It made people suspicious. My wife doesn't look at price per square foot, so it just looked like a great home in Poway to her until we went over a square foot, and she goes, wow, that's amazing. I'll call it. And it was an auction model. They tried to run it a few different times. Eventually went back up on the sale. They raised the price. I don't know where it is now. But I say you go below. You let them know it's below the Zillow. If you're advertising if you're putting the home up for sale on Zillow, you let it know it's below the Zillow price. If you're on wherever you're putting it, Facebook, below the Zillow price, below Realtor.com home value estimate, whatever estimates you want to go below, I'd put it a little below there and say there's a starting offer. It's going to be sold on Sunday, and why it's a great deal for the buyers to check out, and the fact that it's going to be a fair and transparent bidding process. Okay, now, how do I know? Why do I have so much confidence in this process? Because I know I was selling a home for a friend. The friend, this has happened a few different times, so I'm going to just give a composite. The property was as beautiful as it could be. It was totally remodeled, Tony Stark style. This was about 5 years ago. It was next to La Jolla, but not in La Jolla. It represented value. It had great views, but it really was above the appraised values because they did everything. If you've totally fixed up a home and it's already a category killer, and then you've got great views, and you've got the cabinets that they slide in really slowly with really good hardware, and you've done that all over. You've made it a wonderful long-term home, but it's on the line. It takes a smart buyer or a smart agent to get that property sold. So you need to where was I going with this? So you need to start it off low and let the smart people come in and bid on the home and understand that the properties are, I just lost my train of thought there because I was mixing two things. But the point is that you need to have a strong buyer who can afford to buy and get the job done. Now, wow, I really got lost. I went up. So I suggest you go below because here it is. So whenever I needed to get this phone to ring, I had the property listed here on the MLS, and then I would say, but my client couldn't go any lower. But I said, I want to get this home sold for them. So what if I pitch in this case, it was like, what if I pitch in the buyer's agent's commissions? So I'd lower the price and people would ring off the hook inquiring like, why is it cheaper here than on the MLS? And sometimes the buyer's agents will call it. And I'd say, why, they'd say, why was it cheaper in the MLS? And I'd say, well, I'm willing to chip in my buyer's agent's commission to get this done. And, well, this is why I didn't want to get this too complicated, but I did. You can set up this process so that if you're having a multiple offer situation with round robin bidding and you net out the agent's prices to win, eventually, the agents are going to hate me for this, because this is what happened in that circumstance. The agent eventually pitches in someone's commission to get the job done, right? When they really want to get the home purchased for their client. So I was going to talk, I was going to save this because I didn't want to overcomplicate this. But here's the point: if you're doing it pre-MLS, you don't have to include buyer's agent's commissions. But if let's say it's the next week and you still want to do the round robin auction process, you can offer buyer's agent's commissions and you can net it out, and the agents are going to call up and they're going to be ticked because they instantly recognize that their buyers are going to have to make up for the more than their commission to win, and they many times will lower their commission in order to get the deal done. Okay, I was going to save that for later, but that just came out because multiple different times I've seen that happen, and we don't start off the process like that on purpose. If I go on the MLS and I say 3%, I'm trying to get the agent 3%. I don't want to chisel them down, but in the auction model, it's just obvious and it's done. There's a third option, a third component is just putting $100 agent compensation on the MLS and making sure they're aware of it. And then they call, are you really only offering 100? No, but I didn't want to be misleading. If your client makes an offer, you can put in whatever compensation you want. So it's just, I put that in there so I didn't have to explain it the other way. So that's the three models. I wasn't going to get to that in this one, but I did. So the round robin bidding process helps you avoid chasing buyers away. So this is where, when you receive the offers on Sunday night and you review them, you can isolate your strongest. You can call them and check with them. Hey, I'm looking at, how flexible are you? I see you're a strong buyer. Do you have more than 20% to put down? Yeah. Now, if they tell you they've got cash or whatever, you're like, well, look, what we really are looking for is to be able to buy a home non-contingent. So if we can set this process up so that you can close quickly after doing your inspections and giving us the opportunity to go ahead and buy another home. And I'll tell you what, if you spend $700 on inspection, this is optional. If you spend $500 on inspections and we don't go ahead and close, we will refund your money, or however you want to do. You say, hey, okay, you're the strongest buyer. We're going to put the other people through the process. We're going to come back and tell you where we are, and we're going to work something out. That's the beauty of this process, because and this is the case. You can tell people we're looking for the strongest buyer that can conform to this. So it's far superior than negotiating final and best right off. It's far superior than having to deal with people during the first 24, 48 hours and doing it hectically, making rash decisions. It's just jacking up the strongest buyers and risking losing them. And now with social media marketing, audiences in market with as we covered before with YouTube and Google, you can appeal to the most motivated buyers. And non-binding is to be binding opportunity, no agent interference. The buyers will know whether they're winners by Monday when they're negotiating with you, instead of having to be tortured. You can save the buyer's agent's commission through the process, either just outright doing it or the fact that the auction lends itself to making buyer's agents prove they're worth it. There's some caveats there. Like, I don't think you should let the listing agent get the buyer's agent commission, at least not in the pre-MLS one. And it does let you save the MLS for a week or two later. So our model, social media marketing in market. Now, I'd also do local marketing. I mean, signs are great, especially signs saying house to be sold this weekend. Lots of them, 20, 30 signs. So like I wasn't going to pitch myself, but if I were doing this, I would, as soon as I picked the price and the marketing method I was going to use and the sales strategy I was going to use, I would go out and get those signs. If I have bad handwriting, so I'd have to see if my wife were available. But I get the coolest signs are the signs that are handwritten. 3 or 4 lines, 3 lines probably. House to be sold this Sunday. Starting offers here. More information or the address. You put them out all over. Some of the signs should have directional arrows. Some should be blank. Put it right in your front yard. Open all weekend. That also needs to be on the sign. So 4 lines. But you handwrite it, and they're beautiful. You may or may not have seen it, but there are signs available on the internet that fill in some of those things, and you just write 4 bedrooms, price, open house weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2 or something, which works. But I'd rather hold the open house from like 11 to 5 or 10 to 4, because we really want to give people an opportunity to see it. Now, the other thing that's awesome with the social media marketing is you can drive the traffic to information about your house, the rules of how the auction is going to run. You can really pre-sell it, pitch it. I'm not pitching it today, but I've created a home sales funnel and ClickFunnels, which people can have a 14-day free trial to. So it fits within that 7 to 10-day method, where the rules are detailed. You would include your pre-disclosure, your disclosures, your repair list, your inspection report, the homeowner's warranty information, and it's like a listing packet for the people. You talk about what the bid sheet's going to look like, so they should have their bids ready, or you could give them a sample contract. So this all goes to them when they give you a Facebook lead form or they go to your website, and then you can even remarket to them rather quickly. You can give them a series of videos if they spend any time watching your first video. I mean, it's just awesome. And it can be done for $7 or $10 a day, and then the remarketing is even cheaper. The transparent rule protects you. You don't have to sell if you don't want to. You always, in our system, you always have a right to accept the maximum offer or reject it, or negotiate with them on Monday. And you can always, and this is the cool thing, during that offer acceptance period, if some offer is so strong you're ready to go, maybe you want to make an offer on another home, you can cancel the auction, go with that offer, and it just all transfers right over into a regular real estate sale, right into escrow. The normal thing if you're working in California with me or a California agent, you're going to use the normal California Association of Realtor forms. It's going to go right through escrow as a normal process. It's not like we're asking people to make that bid on Saturday or Sunday, raising those signs saying sold, and they take it without any further inspections, or you sell it for that price automatically. We're not doing that with this model. This model is designed to give you maximum flexibility and the buyer's maximum confidence, so you get the benefits of the real estate process. The seller gets the benefits, not the listing agent. The buyer gets the benefit that they get they're paying, they know it can be over Monday, and they go right into that regular escrow period. Now again, some of this requires you or your realtor explaining this to people, but it's such a good model. It's great for them. There's no real risk to you, because if it doesn't work, you already get tons of price discovery. You learn all about your home. You learn what people like. Maybe you decide I want to spend $2,000 to fix it, then list it for much higher. So you get price discovery. You go on the MLS. You've created a big buzz about your home, and you can do it the same way on the MLS or go to the regular model just a few days later. So that is a training. Now I'll tell you. So for everybody, if you're looking to sell your home and you want to use this model with your agent, I'm happy to assist. But now, with your permission, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process I've developed for working with me so we can refer you to a listing agent and get this done for you anywhere in the country. And when you talk to us, we have different models, but one model is there's no money out of your pocket to work with me. We help you find a great agent. But there are other optional models. I've worked with people who say, John, I want to pay you for your time. I want to just work cleanly with this listing agent. I don't mind the commission. So, I'm an attorney also. I'm a businessman, and I really want to help owners sell their home. I think we have to get this method done so we beat out all the others. I have training about why this method is going to be superior to Redfin or Zillow, most of Zillow's methods. All of them really, why it's better than Realtor.com. I mean, we're going to help you pick a great agent. We're going to train them up on the model, And then they can revert to their regular model just 7 days later, really 5 days or 10 days, depending on how long you want. So at the bottom of this page, or at winnerscheck.net, probably on the second page, maybe the first, depending on how the website changes, just set up a free strategy session with me. Now, in that strategy session, I've set it up for mostly business hours. If I get up pretty early now, at the behest of my wife, so 8 o'clock is not a problem for me. I get up around 7. Well, that's pretty early for me. For a realtor, right? Real estate doesn't really start until 10 o'clock, and that's signing other realtors. Clients don't usually start calling until 12 or 1. But it does go in the evening, especially on the weekends. But I'm up early, so if you set up a time out far, and then there's a little questionnaire when we qualify you. I find out a little bit about it, so I'm ready for the meeting. You can say, John, that far out time was picked. It doesn't work for me. Here's 2 times I could work. Thursday at 6, Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, and then here's my contact. Well, you'll have given me the contact information. So I'll tell you what time's good for me. So it's a 30-minute strategy session where you're going to get to know me. I'm going to get to know you and your goals. We'll discuss your property, and there's a lot more that I haven't discussed that I can't right now. I will have other videos over time, but I'm going to help you sequence your strategies. So maybe the really entrepreneurial person in you would like to do it all without a listing agent and then move to the listing agent after that first weekend. We can accommodate that. I'll put out other training about that, but we can discuss that during the strategy session. So we can sequence just listing agent and buyer's agent commission. So, we might look at no real estate commissions, maybe working with me or one of my programs, 2.5%, 3%, or 1.5% for your listing agent, depending on what sort of agent, how much help you want. And then you might give another 3% to the buyer's agent. That could be your third part of the program. One could be big open weekend. Do you want to make an offer? The next could be auction round robin weekend, non-binding auction round robin weekend. Third could be with an agent. Fourth could be with an agent and full real estate commission. So we can sequence all these things depending on your time frame and what you desire. We discussed that in the training. Like I said, I can customize it. So really though, the non-binding auction, it's going to let you know if you've got 20 or 25 people who saw your home, that for that weekend, you had a very, very, very good assurance that you've extracted the maximum amount from the market, especially if you set up this sequence in the marketing well. This could add tens of thousands of dollars to your net in addition to the real estate commission savings. So the amount of equity you preserve that goes in your pocket could be massively different. Now, if we refer them out, I've been putting together a course. It's not complete. And in fact, at the end of this, and maybe even before, I'm going to ask you, what are your questions? So I would appreciate it, even if you choose not to sign up the strategy session, if you'd click and I don't know how you're going to get to it in the end. So maybe before I've already asked you for a question, or maybe at the end of this page. But I'd love your input to see what questions you have about the process and how I can make it better so it can go into the course. But we'll make that course available in probably a short form for your listing agent. Plus, I'll talk to them on the phone if you elect to have me help you get the listing agent, and we'll talk about our simple. The agent that was working with me years ago when I was the FISBO, they got it immediately and crafted it perfectly. Most agents are going to get it. Why rush? Why not do some pre-MLS marketing? Why not accept offers for a week and then review the offers and then don't jack up your strongest person? It's not rocket science. It's just different. Now, the beauty of this is that, the Fidelity Investments once had, invest responsibly. And it's, it was so good. People who've been trading on their own, the money goes up, they lose money, they don't know if they're doing a good job. The market went down. Should they have lost that much? I don't know. And Fidelity said, don't worry about it. Just invest with us. We're the pros. Invest responsibly. Have that confidence. And if you set a strategy that's going to do the market or better, even if the market goes down, at least you're responsibly invested. Now, I'm not saying you're going to lose money, But I'm going to say when you're working with most agents and they do this below the MLS, below fair market strategy, many sellers come away from that process thinking they could have done a lot better. This process, and that haunts people. It bothers people. 20, 50,000 bucks could have been in my pocket. My home was great. The next sales were up big. I experienced that once. This process is at least for that weekend going to let you know, wow, I appealed to the strongest buyers in the market. I got most of them at the property. They made offers, and this is where a transparent process it's as old as the hills, a real unencumbered by listing agents bidding model got these people to hear. Plus, I had this one really strong offer. You're going to have confidence that you got the top of the market and that you had a really strong net. So the confidence in the beauty of the process, you really need to see. So during our strategy session, we're also going to qualify your home and your goals. If you already have an agent you like to work with, a relative, a family member, we can do that. Or if you'd like me to help you select, like I think you should get 3 marketing plans that also talk about what we want to do, how they'll incorporate into it, how they'll do their Facebook, how they'll do their other marketing, and what to do. I think you should get 3 plans. But you don't have to, and we can refer it. Or, well, that's what we just said. And this is only here as long as you're seeing this model and you sign up soon. Instead of us doing this for you and seeking the referral fee to cover the cost of the program, which I've done dozens and dozens of times in the past for buyers and sellers. I've referred properties all over the country and buyers all over the country, especially higher end buyers. And we sought minimum 30% referral fees, but sometimes 50 or maybe even more in multi-million-dollar properties. Instead of us keeping that fee in exchange for our services, I'm going to share that fee with you. This is very limited time to get this program rolling. I want it to dominate. I want to have the money to dominate with retargeting strategies and Facebook and YouTube. There's so much of an opportunity here, and I want to invest some of the money I make into growing the business. Eventually, we're going to drop that sharing part, or if we do, we're going to cut it significantly. But right now, we will give you, we will share that listing. We will share that referral fee with you. So this is the 7-day home sale for agents. We're going to provide, the membership site is almost up, but we will provide access to that site to your agent. But for now, I will customize it and talk to them with you. We can do it on a conference call if you'd like. Once again, the strategy session is free. There's no obligation to see if you're an ideal candidate, see if you want to work with me and I can work with you. And, okay, so here's the craziest guarantee I could come up with, because I've read all about how to do this. Just for showing up at this strategy session with me. Even if you're not interested in doing it this way, I will. So let's just say it's a straight up referral. I will refer your property for you, let you bounce questions off me during the process, and I will share the referral fee with you 70-30. You'll get 70, I'll get 30 once my 30 gets to $2,000 or above. So it'll be $2,000. I'll do it. Actually, this is crazy. I wasn't even going to do it this way. If you're seeing this video, because I'm going to redo these every week. But right now, while you're seeing this, $2,000 of referral fee has to be met with the 70-30 towards me for the work to help you do all this. Then you'll get the next $2,000, so we'll be even. And after that, we'll split the referral fee 70-30. So if you got a really big property, there should be a lot there for you. Let's say the referral fee, let's say we take it easy and we only ask for 1%, which would be about a third of the normal listing commission. We'd probably ask for a little more because you want to cover my $2,000 and still feel like you got 1%. But let's say we stuck at 1% and your property is an $800,000 property. That'd be $8,000 coming into the brokerage. So $2,000 to me, then $2,000 to you, and then you get 70% of $4,000. So I would get 30% of it, and that's the program. So that's it. That's if you're going to sell your home, just for contacting me. And you know what? Let's say that's really what you want to do. Let's say, John, I sat through your presentation and you said, in exchange for that, I can do 70/30. I'm happy to do it. Let's do it. So sign up for it, put in the little box. I'm just looking for the referral fee. Great. We're good. Now, question and answer. Can I do this working with a Redfin? Well, Redfin usually charges 1.5. If you also buy with them, it's 1%. We can work those numbers out pretty easily, or very close to it. But instead of working with any old agent that Redfin gives you, we can get the best agent in your marketplace. I'm telling you, I've never had a referral fee offer. Sometimes it's hard to get 50% of the listing fee. But as the market's, it's not a problem right now to get 50% of the listing fee. Now, we can start with 1% if it's a relative or a friend or an agent with a very strong presence in your neighborhood. I've gotten agents all over the country for friends and relatives. Also, I'll use the exact same process for you. We can talk about that in the training. How we know, we're going to find out who sells a lot of homes in the area, and we'll consult with them. We're going to ask them to submit marketing plans to you and even sample buyer's contracts, because all this is important to avoid making rash offers. So much more of the program I haven't even gone into in detail. So, Zillow, with this process, with most MLSs, your home will go up on Zillow automatically. Zillow is willing to buy your home from you, and if it's a total fixer-upper and a mess, I'd say talk to me anyway, because you might as well put your home on the market for 7 days and see if you can do better. And just use Zillow as one of the offers you're playing up against. And I will find a way to get you the training for that, because it's done. I just haven't published it. I'll tell you one model that's interesting. So we can beat all these other models with this program, except for a model where they say they're already saying we are not going to pay the buyer's agent's fees. Like I think it's like Homebase says they want you to go a little bit under. A lot of people believe it should be 3% under. That's what their numbers tell you. 3% under their listed price, but pay 3% or 2.5% to the buyer's agents. I think Rex says no. They use big data, which the best big data is Facebook's and Google's. They say we don't pay the buyer's agents. We'll sell your home for 2%. So in that case, that's the pre-MLS model. We don't even have to call it pre-MLS, but we're gonna have to find a listing agent who is willing to work for 2% or less and cover my fee. We can do it. I think it's better than just picking Rex's, but I've got videos. I've reviewed Rex. It's a pretty good model. I would use it myself in San Diego or Orange County. If I were selling a home as part of that pre-MLS maneuver, I have ways to augment it myself, but I can't guarantee you other agents will do that. So we can beat it. Basically, in Southern California, we'll beat Rex because you'll be working with me. But if we're referring it, but for everybody else, I'm not in the non-Rex situation. I prefer to refer it out and consult, and that's that. So that's the questions for now. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and we're going to be doing it again every other week or every week for a while. So thank you, John McConnin, winnerscheck.net, to set up that consult. Or, if you're seeing this on YouTube, I'll eventually have a card in there. I'll click you right through to it. winnerscheck.net. Thank you. Wow, I'm having trouble. My computer was pretty slow. That's not going to be a great sign, is it? Oh, I know why. I got to go back to me. Right? Why is that? Oh, here we go. Something was going on with my cursor. There I am. Thanks again. And now I'm going to winnerscheck.net. John McConnin, broker, attorney.